Good morning and welcome to Sullivan's Farm again. It's a bit overcast today, but look, the weather's fairly good overall. It's a bit cooler in the evenings and the mornings, but the days are still dry and grass is still going fairly okay. So I'm going to head over to the yard there now, show your pups on the way. Very much pets around the house, more so than working dogs, but sure, look, they're fulfilling a function, more than paying for themselves. They're mad to come for a walk as well now, but maybe later, lads. Between myself and ourselves and the young lads, we'd be bringing them for a walk. So what I'm hopefully going to show you this morning is the plan for a particular field here, or a couple of paddocks that we're going to outwinter cattle on. And we set a little bit of rapeseed on it there, or quite a bit of rapeseed on it a couple of weeks ago there, and it's slowly starting to come through. So as we get over, we'll have a quick look at that, and we'll look at some of the stock from there. So we're in the field here now. It's about 6-ish acres, maybe 7. I divided it in 4 with permanent divisions 2 years ago now. There's a water truck in each of the divisions, or 2 water trucks serve the 4 permanent divisions, and we can divide it, subdivide it with a post and reel into 8 paddocks, or that's the plan anyway. But part of that plan is to reseed it over the space of 2 years or 3 years, I suppose, per paddock. Now there's 2 paddocks on this side of it, so the plan kind of came together last year, and I'm very much making it up really, but hopefully it'll work out. There was a lot of docks and a lot of nettles in it. You can kind of see some of them here. It wasn't as bad as that, but it wasn't far off it, and they were kind of taken over. So the first thing, stage 1, if you want to call it that, was to take 2 cuts of silage off the field, which is what we've done now. And the thinking there was that would take some of the seeds, the nettle seeds and the dock seeds, out of the field itself. I suppose if you were reading about that in some of the papers or seeing some official videos, they'd say, well, we took it out of the system. But there's no such thing as a system on a farm. There's only fields and nature. So that took a lot of the weed seeds out of the field anyway. And that's gone into the bales, and when it goes through the animals, apparently that destroys the seeds from the nettles and the docks. So that was kind of stage 1, to remove as many seeds as we could, weed seeds, that way. The next thing then was to spray it off with Roundup, and we did that a few weeks ago. And then after that, set some rapeseed, which it's late in the year to be setting it, but it seems to be doing okay. You can kind of see some of it there on the camera, and you can see more of it coming through there as well. There's still the odd bit of a nettle here and there, but certainly nothing like what was there. So hopefully we'll see what kind of a crop is on it there in a couple of weeks' time. And the plan then is that the Wainlands will come in here around the first week of November, and they'll graze this, strip graze it. There's bales dotted, can you see them up there, the whole way to the other end of the field, and they will get probably about 2 kgs of cubes as well. Well, it'll be cubes, probably 16% beef nut mixed in with barley as well. I did it a couple of years ago, outwintered heifers at the time on a field similar to this, the one you saw previously in another video where all the clover is. Now, and it worked out very well. I've no signs to back this up, but barley always struck me, roll barley always struck me as a nice dry warm feed for the Wainlands like that. So that's the plan. Now, in theory, there was going to be 30 Wainlands out here, but as we'll see there in a while, there's definitely 4. I might pick out 2 or 3 more of the smaller, younger ones who probably won't be outwintered. They might go straight into the shed, the new shed, on a bit of straw, and we'll very much improvise from there, which is I think the kind of the polite way of saying we'll make it up as we go along. But that's the plan. So we took the 2 cuts of silage. That was we'll call it. I'm going to call it stage 1 if anybody's asking. And the next stage then is to set the rapeseed and outwinter the cattle on it. So hopefully the rapeseed will help the soil structure. Like ultimately, and I suppose I should have said that at the start, I don't like the word sustainability, because everybody uses it, and everybody, you know, to whatever you're having yourself, lads, it doesn't really mean anything anymore. But what I'm trying to do is make the soil and the grass and the animals and the farmer himself as self-sufficient as possible. So the less synthetic fertilizer we have to buy in, the better for the environment, obviously, but also for the financials and the control that I have over the farm itself as well. If I'm dependent on buying in a whole load of synthetic fertilizer every year, synthetic nitrogen in particular, then I'm at the whim of whatever's happening in the world, whether it's Russia, Ukraine, the Middle East, the United States, wherever. So I'm trying to make things as self-sufficient as possible, and improving the soil is a big part of that. And the rapeseed hopefully will help with the structure of the soil. So it'll be grazed in place by the Wainlands, and then next April we will reseed it with a mixture of perennial ryegrass or a few species of perennial ryegrass for a bit of variety, and an extra bit of clover. There's a nice bit of clover just as we're standing here as I'm talking. Nice bit of clover here. I oversowed a bit in these couple of paddocks a few years ago, just to see what it was like, as much as anything else. So it seems to be going fairly well. And again then, so we're kind of 12, that'll be kind of stage 3. I'm losing track myself anyway. But after that, when it's grazed and it comes through, and we'll probably use a clover safe spray, post-emergence spray there as well, and graze it. Still a few flies around, and graze it. And then, depending on how the clover is going and everything else is going, we might come in maybe the year after that then, once the grass is established, and maybe when the power is kind of gone out of the grass a little bit in June or maybe even July of the year after, we might stitch in a few different a mixture of a multi-species sward, and we'll see then just how much or how little nitrogen is needed in the field. So it's a sort of a 3 year plan to go from lots of nettles and lots of docks and lots of nitrogen to something that's much more edible for the cattle. It produces more grass, but it's also more self-sufficient as well. And again, look, it's all a bit of research, but if it works in these particular couple of paddocks, then we might switch over and do these couple of paddocks next as well. But again, it all depends. What will be factored into that too is the dung, the farmyard manure that'll be coming out from the new shed, and the extra straw that we've bought in this year as well. So we'll see how it goes. So that's kind of the first time I've really looked at the rapeseed since it was set. It's probably gone in about a fortnight now. Seems to be doing fairly okay. Whatever kind of a crop is on it, they're going to be grazing it anyway, and we'll see how long they get out of it. So that's the plan. We'll have updates on that, I guess, as the year progresses. So I'm going to go over now, feed the calves, and we'll walk out to see the cattle are between us and the calves. So we'll see them maybe on the way. We'll keep the camera rolling. You can see them there. They're doing fairly well. Still happy enough with them. As I said, I was talking to a local butcher who might take a few of the whiteheads in the next few weeks. Their numbers are down 1. I'll show you the little Frisian Jersey cross heifer that I took out there during the week, and then we'll have a look at her there in a while when we go down to feed the other calves. She's in, I suppose, what you would call now an ICU field beside the shed, beside the crush down at the road. So we'll go for a look at them in a minute. Just as we're passing it, I'll show you the field the paddock cattle have just come out of. There wasn't a great clean out on it. I'd prefer to see it a little bit cleaner without skinning the thing altogether, but it's getting a bit wetter. Grass is a little bit stemmy in here in general. When they came in, it was a little bit heavier than I'd like. Might do another video on measuring grass and grass height and all that kind of thing. You started doing that there. Half doing it a couple of years ago, but I kind of got into it a bit more as the stocking rate goes up a little bit. You started to notice these things a little bit more. So I'm not a great fella and I don't measure it to the last half inch, but at the same time it's a good exercise to get into. It's a good habit to get into. But yeah, that's that one. We'll go over here now because they're roaring. So yeah, we'll feed them. We'll go down and see the others then. There's a few of maybe the better bulls, although they're not great. I thought I had better ones picked out to show you, but anyway, I bought more bull calves than usual. I don't usually buy bull calves, but bought a few bull calves this year. So another while there now, we'll have to get the man with the Bordizzo to make sure they don't get any notions, but they're doing okay. This is the speckled park one, who never, even when she was on milk and transitioning off milk inside in the shed, was never too bothered about the few cubes. She'd stand there looking at you rather than getting her feel. But look, we can't force her. If she doesn't want to do it, she doesn't want to do it. So it's her choice, as we say. We're great respecters of choice around here. Go on, I'm going to go away anyway. I'll leave you alone. Maybe I'm distracting you. So there's the calves in the distance. And there's the cattle here. There's about 9 acres on that side of the roadway. There's no permanent divisions, but I say I use pasture base to measure grass. I think I have 6 different paddocks set up on pasture base, but I move them as need be, or set them up as need be, and they can be subdivided as well. There's 3 water trucks. So I think, do I set it up into 12 different paddocks at times, or maybe 18, depending on the number of stock going into them. But I was thinking of putting in permanent divisions in there, but I'm not going to do it yet. There's a half a plan in place. See the cattle there? Give you something to look at besides my head for a while. There's a half a plan in place maybe to set barley in that in a couple of years' time, and then reseed it, and then the permanent barriers might go in, or the permanent divisions I should say might go in after that. And beside where the new shed is, there's the space below the old 2 sheds, below those bales there. If I was to ever go milking cows, it's here the parlour would probably go in, and having those paddocks across the way from it would be a nice handy place to keep the cows for some of the grazing anyway. But sure, look, that's something we might cover at some other future date as well. I did a good bit of research there, spoke to lots of dairy farmers, and did a lot of figures and calculations and mulling it over about converting to milk there a couple of years ago, but it turned out it wasn't really an option at the time. But there's a decision to be made in a couple of years' time, all right. But sure, look, we'll do one day at a time, or as we say with the young lads in the house, we'll do 1 hour at a time, and we won't think too far ahead. We're down with the other 4 now that you would have seen during the week there last week, who are getting an extra little bit of time and space to eat their fill. And they had this lady join them during the week. I had the vet with her. She was breathing fairly heavily, or her breathing was very laboured, and she wasn't eating much. She was part of a batch that I bought about 18 months ago when I was thinking about milking cows, and I didn't realise at the time that there's a little bit of Jersey blood in her, which is not her fault. She's just that little bit smaller. Compared to maybe some of the bigger or the more Holstein British Friesian types. But anyway, she got pneumonia around this time last year, and the vet reckons the lungs were damaged, so it doesn't take much then to knock her or to knock her back a bit. So the vet gave her a bit, I'm not rightly 100% sure, I have it written down, I just can't recall the name of it, something of a cocktail anyway. And she came around a bit, and she can kind of spend the next while here. They're heading off there now. They're a bit camera shy. They've eaten their few cubes, so we'll see how she goes. She can stay with these for a while anyway, but I'd be guessing these are 4 who won't be going out and getting out wintered on the rapeseed whenever it comes up there, maybe around the first week of November, all going well, or the middle of November even, depends on the weather. Sorry now, the light is kind of killing us there, but they'll probably go into the shed. I don't know if that heifer will go into the shed with them, but we'll see how it goes. Like, ultimately, I guess what we're trying to do is again let the animals themselves do most of the work, as we're trying to help the soil and help the grass. We're trying to help the animals do most of the work themselves as well. And I guess what will help them do their work of growing and thriving is if they go into the shed. and the other ones go out on the rapeseed, and then everybody gets a chance to do whatever is going to suit them best. But that's the plan anyway, and I think that's about it for this week. So thanks very much for watching. Again, if you have any comments on the wintering plan or the 2 or 3 year plan on making the soil and the farm and the animals and the farmer self-sufficient, throw it into the comments below. I always appreciate it, and I try and keep an eye on the comments, and if there's anything else I can add or any other questions, I try and answer them down there as well. So thanks very much, and have a good Sunday or whatever, whenever you're watching this. Hope all is going well. Good luck.